Welcome to a brand new episode of TVGP's Critical Misses. I'm your host, Boston, and joining me as always is Moonpear.
Hi.
This is the second to last of the penultimate episode of this season, where we're talking about War of the Worlds, our trip backwards in time. War of the Worlds this week. We're talking about the 1938 radio drama. We're not going to do a part one here. This is the part one of one here, so if you haven't listened to it before, go listen to it. It's everywhere. It's on archive.org. It's on YouTube. It's literally anywhere. So you can just Google it and you'll find it. So that's what we're gonna talk about here. The famous slash infamous radio drama, which has been
Yeah, can we talk about the biggest misconception I had going into this episode?
yeah. It's sort of interesting because my conception slash misconception potentially was mass hysteria, riots in the street, cats and dogs living together after this
Uh-huh.
broadcast, and
Specifically in England in my case.
right, which doesn't seem to be the case at England at all.
Nope. It turns out it was you silly Americans the whole
Yeah, and
time.
it's interesting because going back and listening, like going back and looking at the reception here after the fact, it doesn't. There are kind of conflicting reports of like, well, of course, a bunch of people were just freaking out about it, and then there's a lot of other reports that are like, yeah, but like, not that many. Like people were upset, but they got fooled for a little
The
bit, but not that long.
Yeah, so here is the thing though, is I think like you put this on a scale of England and you say thousands of people were panicking.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, thousands of people, I get it. You put this on the scale of America and you say thousands of people are panicking, and it's a fraction of a fraction
Yeah,
of the population.
yeah, and
Like, I think that's the biggest difference.
it seems like my wife and I were talking about this. We drove a couple of hours in the car yesterday, and we saw this kind of thing that was consistently happening while we were driving, and it was for Tesla drivers. If anyone is listening to this is driving a Tesla and thinking that this is personal, it is. They were like not paying attention to the road and driving, and then they would kind of swerve and they'd hit the
Hmm.
like bump, 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 the like the
The you're going out of lane things.
exactly, and then they would like embarrassingly jerk back on the road and then speed up and speed off, and like every single Tesla that I saw doing that would do the same thing, and I feel like a similar reaction was happening to this of like, oh my god, it's for real, and then someone's like, stupid, there's no Martians. Like, what do you talk? We live in one of the cities that's allegedly under attack. Nothing's under attack, and then they go like, and then they have that flare of anger of like, well, how dare that Orson Welles? Who's he think he is? The coastal elite?
Yeah.
Uh,
The
so I,
27-year-old Orson Welles, or
uh huh.
22-year-old, I think he was at the time.
So I
So
wonder how much
the
of that
baby.
is the like flare of embarrassment fueling a
Well,
lot of this reception.
there is that, and also like I want to credit the production on this. A couple of big notes for it, but
Yeah.
the fact that it's done, and if you're of a certain vintage, this word has a dirty meaning to you,
Hmm.
so just deal with that. But the very gonzo production of it, where it's
Yeah.
super hyper realistic,
Yep.
and it's like, it's not like they're beep, 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 beep kind of thing. It's like, no, here we're taking you away from this like musical broadcast
Right.
to this news reporter,
And
like
that's one of
who's
the things
reporting from the field.
that's one of the things that I was surprised the most about this, because I don't going into this, I don't think I've heard anything from this before. And if you
I
listen to
definitely
it
have not.
in one sitting, it's bookended by, this is a production of the so and so Orson Welles at the theater and this thing. Like, it's very clearly, hey, this is a production of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. But if you were just tuning in to the station to listen to the station and you were like 10 minutes late, you're
Or
like,
not paying attention to that bit.
exactly. You're like, oh, this, okay, they're playing some, wait, hold on, there's a news report. Ooh, there's hot off the presses. Okay. Aliens. Like, I can see how that could have been
The
very
disconnect
convincing.
happens. Mm-hmm.
And like the full production of it, it's a full cast of actors. There are scuffles happening, quote unquote, on the stage as they're recording. Like, there's stuff happening.
And it's performed live, which is something I found out. Like, this isn't
Yeah.
a pre-recorded thing. Like, I think right at the start, like the scientist is talking about like the flares from Mars,
Yep.
and he stumbles over his words and then corrects that word,
Yeah.
which is not something that you hear in like pre-production kind of
Right.
stuff.
Right.
You do in ours because we don't care enough to
Yeah, I
fix
don't.
the stumble, and it makes more sense that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas, like in this kind of production, because they're doing it live, when they fumble or stumble or mispronounce something and have to correct themselves, they're literally doing it on the fly.
And a lot of times they're playing it off as like, oh, there's just a lot happening in the field right now. Like, the aliens are coming. I'm freaking out. Like, and I think the thing that I was kind of impressed by as well is the lack of reuse of actors. So, like, it wasn't just like the guy in San Diego reporting on the science. He's never seen again. He's on it for like 30 seconds, and it's not just like, hi, I'm the artilleryman. I don't sound familiar. Wink. That sort of thing. It's like, no, that dude died in the field. He's not coming back as someone else. I think that kind of helps sell it a little bit more. I do like that Orson Welles, even in his 20s, was still Orson Welles. Like, chewing the scenery with every word, and just like, yeah, that's how that dude was from the moment he could start talking. Is just there's just like
There's probably a reason he had a prolific stage career. Like, apparently he did this, like, as he was doing this, he was busy rehearsing for like a show at the same time. So, like, had to finish this, then go and do an overnight rehearsal for a play he was in at the same time. And it's just like, bro, I get it. I know why.
Yeah, he was fantastic, and it's very funny to listen to this whole thing, and then at the end, him being like, "Hi, it's me, Orson Welles," out of character. I'm in the bushes, jumping out, and going boo. Like, this very clear, like, I'm putting the character away, and I'm explaining.
Yes.
If you didn't,
it's like, hey, this is a Halloween presentation. Happy
Exactly.
Halloween, everybody.
Like, if you weren't here for the beginning, it's okay. This was just a stage play. This was just like a radio broadcast stage play. Everything is fine. And I thought that was, I was genuinely kind of surprised by that, because I thought it would just be like, and that's the word from the last survivor of the America, and they would just be like, that's the end of the broadcast. But it was this kind of pulling back the curtain moment of like, no, that was fun. It was just a play, no big deal. Which I wonder how much that soothed people that came in late, and they were just like, oh, okay, oh, it's War of the Worlds. Okay, yeah, sure. But I don't know. And
I did also like the fact that like production notes aside, like the fact that there were cops showing up to the actual theater, like to the radio station.
Yeah, like trying to stop
like,
the broadcast.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and people like accosting Orson, like starting that night, and then the next day of like, how dare you do this to us? And it's like, oh, okay, dang, sure.
Also, the fact that he takes the fall for it because he's got the most recognizable voice is just hilarious to me. Like, everybody else is like not to blame, apparently.
Yeah, I think one of the things that was kind of fun and a little bit unexpected for me for this adaptation specifically was that they moved all of the landmarks to the U.S. And it wasn't, this is taking place in England right now. It's like, no, this is taking place in Philadelphia and New York and Boston and San Diego and like all of these different American places and landmarks. And I thought that was a cool thing that like we saw a little bit in 2025, but that kind of wasn't the focus. It was more like, whoa, the tripods are in the pyramids at Giza. Wow, they're everywhere. And I like that this was a more localized kind of American production, which I think is kind of neat.
Yes. Yeah. And like, it's told incredibly well.
Yeah,
Like production wise, like if you haven't like listened to this, it's like an hour long. It's like 58 minutes, I think, and
something like
change.
that. Yeah.
Like, just put it like I had spoiler. I had to go work yesterday, so I put this on while I was at work, making show notes in my phone as I was working away,
Yeah.
and it was like, yeah, this is really good. Like,
Yeah.
really good.
And I think that's the stuff that I have sort of appreciated more and more as we've gone through and done various seasons of this show is I think especially when we did the musicals seasons, I think part of it has been a kind of newfound or increased respect for stage productions. And I think this is especially impressive because I'm sure I am not a 1930s radio drama expert.
Yes.
Like, sorry. But so I'm not entirely sure how common a full production of something was during then. If you watch movies that take place during this time about producing radio stuff, there were, you know, you usually see a bunch of people in a room recording some show or commercial or something at the same time. But to me, that's a little bit different from this kind of full production that's like, well, here's a press conference and here's we're calling a scientist and here's a report from the field where the cylinders landed, and like there's this varied sort of thing across the entire episode that I was genuinely really impressed by.
I mean, it's really funny, but I've said it before this season. World War Z owes a lot. The audiobook owes a lot to this performance.
Right. Because there's like you see some podcasts still do that now, but there have been a couple of famous podcasts too that do the like full cast recording with the music and the sound effects, and like it feels like it's a little bit more than you'd get for like a standard radio or a standard like audiobook where it's like there might be multiple characters, but there isn't that kind of full production of sound effects and music and like incidental audio and stuff like that. So that's surprising and impressive, I think. I don't think I realized how like full and rich this production was.
Oh, 100%. And like the really ironic thing is now I want to go listen to old Doctor Who radio stuff.
Yeah.
For those of you who are Whovians, not the American Whovian, but the English Whovian, in this sense, they still do like audiobooks, like dramas for Doctor Who. And like even after doctors have left the show, they'll come back and do audio dramas for like 10 more years. It's ridiculous. It makes me want to go back and check them out because like, come on, BBC. How on point is your radio play game? Like, come on.
Exactly. Like, let me subscribe to the BBC Doctor Who radio play podcast feed and just start going through a bunch of those. Yeah. It's kind of tough because I kind of don't know what else to talk about on this one because a lot of it is
I mean, it keeps pretty solidly to the same story.
True.
It doesn't change a whole bunch.
No,
not like the Hollywood blockbuster movie version of it. We still get essentially the artilleryman underground, except he's a stranger in this time instead of the artilleryman.
Yep. I do kind of like the Orson Welles as the book
The
narrator.
narrator.
Yeah, the like last man on Earth sort of thing. Like the loneliness that persists through the majority of the book, sort of being present in his performance, I think carries over really nicely. That has to be a hard thing to communicate, especially just through audio, but Orson Welles kind of knocks it out of the park.
Yes. And this kind of like this. We can talk about it next production meeting. We probably should. Do we need an Orson Welles season?
I mean, I'm never going to turn that down. Orson Welles is a heck of an actor.
I'm pretty sure this is my first experience with Orson Welles.
Okay.
Like,
other than
as a
like
whole.
stuff that's paying lightly joking homage to him, because he has such a particular voice and like a particular presence that it's so easy to. It's like Christopher Walken. It's like no one else talks like Christopher Walken does. It's easy to make a caricature out of that character. Did you read the story? When I was looking at this, I read a story about Orson Welles and H.G. Wells meeting for one and only time. Did you read about that?
I did not read that story, no.
It was basically Orson Welles saying like, hey man, big fan of the book, obviously. It's pretty wild about how like a whole ton of Americans just really freaked out about this whole radio play thing. And H.G. Wells apparently was like, yeah, that sounds like Americans. See ya. Just like, all right.
Oh, so he made the exact joke I made at the top of the show.
It's like, all right, you know what? You're not wrong. So good on you. I think the thing that I am coming out of this being the most surprised by is my recommendation of people listen to it. Like, I think this is a thing that has aged really well, and I mean,
like, it's also one of those things that, like, we need to, for anybody super young who's listening, like, TVs weren't always the go-to. Like, one of the reasons why baseball is America's pastime, or was America's pastime, was because they broadcast it for free on the radio when TVs were not available.
Exactly.
And if you wanted to keep track, you had the little scorecard that you literally followed along with as you were listening to the game.
Yep.
Like, that's why baseball became so huge over here.
You have a 3-hour drive to Cedar Point on Saturday when the game is happening? Yeah, man. You're listening to it in the car.
I mean, 3 hours is an understatement for the old school baseball games, but
yeah, exactly.
But like it was free, and that's the same with radio. Like radio, like when this came out, radio was so prolific compared to televisions.
Yeah.
And it's just like, everybody listened to the radio.
Well, and it was broadcast on CBS radio, which means you had it. Everybody had it.
Yeah.
Like,
and it even says like CBS and its national affiliates at the start of it. It's like,
it's basically going to be everybody. Like, it's nowadays where it's like, on TV, if it's like, oh, it's on like ABC, NBC, or Fox, you're going to have it. Like that, you're going to have one of those stations. It's going to be on it. So I think that's what's is pretty wild about it. So it was cool. I think for me,
it's an hour and it's worth every minute.
Yeah, and I think it's another one of these cool things of like so many of these productions, except for the 2025 one. Go listen to that episode. Don't watch the movie. Have been such a cool, unique presentation of the original work. Like the last episode, we listened to a almost 2-hour American-born, British-raised rock opera production, rock opera / orchestra / disco production that was fairly faithful to the original work. Now we have this like radio play. We had a big Hollywood blockbuster movie. We had whatever the hell the 2025 one is. Like, there are all of these vastly different approaches to the original work, but except for the 2025 one, I think we're all kind of seeing relatively true to the original work adaptations. Even the
Yep.
the
I mean, the radio play it changes locations for America, but they
right.
even like, is it Bethnal Green is the location in the book where it all ends,
Oh God.
and they even
Yeah.
call part of the landscape in in the American version Bethnal Green as a little
Right.
ode
Right.
to that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's been really cool to see um, the various adaptations and how much they're kind of playing with War of the Worlds as an idea, but even like the 2005 Tom Cruise movie set in the kind of like the northeastern portion of the US was still fairly close to the original work. And it's kind of, seeing, playing with various pieces of War of the Worlds, but kind of keeping the core stuff. Even the ending of this radio play was like, yep, bacteria got him. Sucks. Maybe they'll be back. Who knows? Wink.
Yep.
That sort of thing. It's like, okay, like you kept the whole thing together. This is probably the one work where tripods are kind of not the main focus. This one's more like the cylinders and the characters, as opposed to, wow, that thing's real big. It's got 3 legs.
Yes. In that way, it does feel very much like I mean, to be honest, let's face it, like even the mini series, with the exception of the movie, everything that we've come across so far this season, with the exception of the 2 movies, the tripods haven't really been a focus.
No.
Like they've been talked about, they've been discussed, but they're just not focused. It's about and from what I understand, the book is the same. It's about the character's journey
Yeah.
in this larger scale thing. It's the thing
Yeah.
we wish all video games were. Yeah, the world can be ending, but can my quest be to get home to my family, please?
Yeah, exactly. Where did my wife go? I hope I get reunited with her at some point. This Artillery Man, he's got some wild ideas.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. That's our episode here for the 1938 radio drama. Again, if you haven't listened to it, it's only an hour. It's genuinely something you're not going to really miss out on a lot if you kind of have it in the background while you're working on something else, or you're like doing the dishes or whatever. Like, it's kind of meant for that, I think, at least nowadays. Which means we only have one more episode left in the season, and you can probably correctly guess what the last episode is going to be. That's also going to be a one-parter. We're not going to be a two-parter on that. So if you want to experience that work beforehand, I would recommend it. All right.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Boy.